There's a kind of exhaustion that no amount of sleep can cure. You wake up physically rested, but something in your chest still feels tight, as if you carried something heavy through the night. Nothing dramatic is happening. No one is attacking you. No crisis is unfolding. And yet your heart feels overloaded. Have you ever noticed that feeling? Like you are carrying something invisible, something without shape, but somehow heavier than your own body. Maybe it is the past, a conversation you never stopped replaying, a mistake you never truly forgave yourself for, a version of you that you are still trying to defend. Or maybe it is the future, a scenario your mind keeps rehearsing, an imagined failure, an imagined rejection, an imagined loss that has not happened, but already hurts. Pause for a moment. Right now, in this exact second, is anything actually wrong? Or is your mind working harder than reality? Welcome to Calm Life Audio. Tonight, we are not here to fix your life. We are here to examine what you are carrying and whether it still belongs in your hands. Because most suffering does not come from reality itself. It comes from mental repetition, from the mind looping through the same emotional memory, again and again, without movement and without resolution. Psychology calls this rumination. It feels like problem solving. It feels like processing, but in truth, it is emotional recycling. The brain believes that by replaying the past, it will gain control. But control over what? The event is finished. The moment has already expired. Only the memory remains. And memory, when fueled by emotion, reconstructs itself stronger every time you revisit it. This is how a small pain slowly becomes identity. A criticism becomes, I am not enough. A rejection becomes, I am unlovable. A failure becomes, I always fail. One event, repeated, magnified, personalized. The Buddha described this through the metaphor of two arrows. The first arrow is unavoidable pain, loss, illness, disappointment, change. The second arrow is the mental reaction, the resistance, the narrative, the identity we build around it. The first arrow touches the body. The second arrow lives in the mind. You may not always prevent the first arrow, but the second one is optional. Think about that carefully. It is 2:13 in the morning. The room is dark and silent, but your mind is replaying a conversation from years ago. You hear the tone again. You see the expression again. You feel the embarrassment again. Your body reacts as if it just happened. Your jaw tightens. Your heart rate shifts. Your breathing becomes shallow, but nothing is happening. Nothing. Your body is in the present. Your mind is not. This is the illusion of memory. The brain does not fully distinguish between remembered pain and present danger, so it activates the same stress response again and again. That is why you feel exhausted without moving, because you are fighting something that no longer exists. The past has already completed its function. It occurred. It ended. But the mind reopens it, believing that holding on means safety. In reality, holding on is weight, and weight is fatigue. Let me ask you something gently. Is what you are carrying happening right now? Look around. In this room, in this breath. Is there danger? Or is there thought? The present moment does not accuse you. It does not replace shame. It does not predict catastrophe. It simply exists. Suffering grows when the mind imports yesterday or exports itself into tomorrow. Without those two, what remains? Breath, sensation, silence, space, and in space, peace has room to appear. You do not need to erase your past. You do not need to suppress your emotions. You simply need to stop multiplying them. Pain is natural. Suffering is repetition. Pain is temporary. Suffering is resistance. When you begin to see that the second arrow is self-inflicted, not intentionally, but habitually, you reclaim something powerful. Not control over events, but control over attention. And attention is everything. Where attention goes, emotion grows. Where emotion grows, identity forms. And identity built on pain becomes a prison. But prisons made of thought can dissolve when thought is observed instead of followed. This is where the shift begins, quietly, subtly, but deeply. The weight you feel is not life itself. It is accumulation, old stories, unfinished arguments, imagined futures. And tonight, we begin putting them down. Now let's move into something even subtler, because even after we understand the two arrows, we still hold on. We still replay, we still analyze, we still tighten our grip. Why? Because somewhere inside, we believe that holding on protects us. We believe that if we think about it long enough, we can prevent it from happening again. But there is a difference between learning and reliving. Learning is calm. Reliving is emotional. Learning extracts wisdom and moves forward. Reliving reopens the wound and stays there. Most people confuse repetition with growth. They believe that revisiting pain means processing it. But repetition without awareness is not healing. It is reinforcement. The mind says, if I replay this, I will finally understand it. But the event is over. The only thing still active is thought, and thought, when left unchecked, turns into belief. Belief turns into identity, and identity shapes the way you see the world. This is how expectation quietly becomes suffering. Expectation is not loud. It does not announce itself as dangerous. It hides inside hope, inside love, inside ambition. You expect someone to understand you. You expect someone not to change. You expect life to follow your timeline. There is nothing wrong with desire. There is nothing wrong with loving deeply. The suffering begins when your peace depends on the outcome, because outcomes are not fully yours. Your effort is yours. Your intention is yours. Your response is yours. But results belong to causes far beyond your control. And yet, the mind tries to control them anyway. This is the illusion of control. We think that worrying enough will influence the future. We think that thinking harder will guarantee safety. We think that replaying the past will prevent repetition, but control over external events is limited. Control over attention is not. You send a message. Hours pass. No reply. At first, nothing happens. Then the mind begins writing stories. They're ignoring me. They don't care. I must have said something wrong. The event is silence. The suffering is interpretation. Nothing external changed, but internally, a narrative formed. And once narrative forms, emotion follows. This is how the ego operates. The ego places me at the center of every movement. A delayed reply becomes rejection. A disagreement becomes disrespect. A canceled plan becomes betrayal. But life is not constantly targeting you. Life is conditions moving, people responding from their own fears, circumstances unfolding through causes you cannot see. When you remove yourself from the center, everything becomes lighter. The Buddha taught that much suffering arises from attachment to self. This happened to me. They did this to me. This shouldn't happen to me. But what if the event was not personal? What if it was simply conditions colliding? When the word me softens, anger softens, resentment softens, fear softens, because you are no longer defending identity. You are simply observing experience. Pause again. Right now, in this moment, is there an attack, or is there memory? Is there rejection, or is there imagination? The present moment does not carry insult. It does not replay tone. It does not predict disaster. It simply exists. The mind is what assigns meaning, and meaning, when unconsciously constructed, creates suffering. Expectation tied to external outcomes makes happiness fragile. Presence tied to awareness makes happiness stable. This is where maturity begins. You relocate your sense of safety from what happens to how you respond, from whether people stay to whether you remain steady, from whether outcomes succeed to whether your integrity remains intact. And suddenly, life feels less like a battlefield and more like a current. You are no longer fighting the river. You are learning how to move with it. This does not mean passivity. It does not mean apathy. It means wisdom. Wisdom recognizes the boundary between what can be influenced and what must be allowed. You cannot stop the rain, but you can carry an umbrella. You cannot force someone to understand you, but you can choose clarity over resentment. You cannot prevent all change, but you can prevent unnecessary suffering. And this is where freedom becomes real, not because life becomes easy, but because your resistance becomes smaller. The ego thrives on control. Awareness thrives on observation. And the moment you begin observing, instead of reacting, space appears. In that space, there is choice. In that choice, there is freedom. And in that freedom, there is peace. Now we arrive at something simple, but often misunderstood. Letting go is not about forcing yourself to forget. It is not about pretending nothing hurt. It is not about becoming indifferent. It is about changing your relationship to what already happened. Because the truth is this: the past no longer exists outside your mind. The future does not yet exist outside imagination. What exists is this breath, and this breath is lighter than your thoughts. Most people try to escape the present moment. They rush into memory. They rush into projection. They rush into distraction. Why? Because the present feels too quiet, and in that quiet, there is nothing to control. But the present moment is not empty. It is neutral, and neutrality is peaceful. When you stop fighting it, imagine someone sitting alone at sunrise. No phone, no noise, no conversation. At first, there is discomfort. The mind searches for stimulation. It reaches for something to replay, but if they stay still long enough, something changes. The air feels cool, light touches the horizon, birds move without hurry, and for a moment, there is no past, no future, no identity to defend, just presence. This is not spiritual fantasy. It is neurological reality. When attention rests in sensory experience, breath, sound, temperature, the brain's stress networks quiet down. Rumination decreases. The body exits survival mode. Peace is not something you manufacture. It is something that appears when unnecessary mental activity softens. You do not need to fix your entire life to experience calm. You need to return to what is already here, right now. Notice your breathing. Notice the weight of your body. Notice the space around you. Nothing dramatic is required. No insight is necessary. No breakthrough is needed. The present moment is enough. But here is where many people hesitate. They think, if I stop thinking about the past, I will repeat my mistakes. If I stop worrying about the future, I will become careless. But awareness is different from anxiety. You can remember without reliving. You can plan without panicking. You can prepare without imprisoning yourself. Letting go does not erase wisdom. It refines it. The difference is subtle. When you remember with resistance, the body tightens. When you remember with awareness, the body stays calm. When you think about the future with fear, the chest contracts. When you think about it with clarity, the mind remains steady. The shift is not in the event. It is in your nervous system, and your nervous system responds to attention. So the question becomes, where is your attention resting? On what you cannot control, or on what you can influence? On stories, or on reality? The more often you return to the present, the weaker old narratives become, not because you suppress them, but because you stop energizing them. Thoughts are like echoes. If you do not shout into the canyon, the sound fades. Identity built on suffering begins to dissolve. I am the one who was hurt. I am the one who was rejected. I am the one who failed. These sentences lose power when you stop repeating them. You are not your worst moment. You are not your strongest fear. You are not your loudest thought. You are the awareness that notices them. And awareness is spacious. When awareness expands, tight stories shrink. This is maturity, not emotional suppression, not forced positivity, but stable presence. And presence changes everything. Because when you stop arguing with reality, energy returns. You have strength for what matters, clarity for what is in front of you, patience for what is unfolding. Life does not become perfect. It becomes workable. The weight you once carried begins to feel unnecessary. The old arguments lose urgency. The imagined futures lose intensity. And slowly, without drama, the heart becomes lighter. Feel the difference between thinking and simply being. One feels tight, the other feels open. One is heavy, the other is steady. Freedom is not loud. It does not announce itself with fireworks. It feels like space. Space between thoughts. Space between reactions. Space between stimulus and response. In that space, there is choice. In that choice, there is power. And in that power, there is peace. If tonight your mind feels crowded, do not fight it. Notice it. If tonight your chest feels heavy, do not condemn it. Observe it. Observation is gentler than resistance, and gentleness changes the nervous system. Ask yourself quietly, is this happening now, or am I carrying it through memory? If it is memory, let it complete itself. If it is imagination, let it soften. Return to breath. Return to sensation. Return to this moment again and again and again. Over time, this becomes natural. The mind still thinks. Life still moves. Pain still appears, but you stop multiplying it. You stop adding the second arrow. You stop carrying what is not yours. And that is freedom. Thank you for sharing this still space with Calm Life Audio. If this reflection brought you even a small sense of lightness, subscribe and return whenever your mind feels crowded. May your heart grow lighter. May your thoughts grow quieter. And may you remember, peace begins the moment you stop carrying what was never yours to hold. Good night.